Sports in just a second, but first, a couple of highlights from Saturday Night Football. Texans and Jets and DeAndre Hopkins. The back shoulder grab late in the fourth quarter,
I'm glad he's finally starting to get the attention that he deserves. Huge game in Jersey on Saturday night. Not a great offensive performance, but he made all the big plays at the end. Him and J.J. Watt stood out in this game and their quarterback.
J.J. Watt and Andrew Luck going to come down to the wire for Comeback Player of the Year. Nuke has been spectacular.
Seahawks and 49ers, Doug Baldwin, speaking of spectacular, snagging the ball, avoids the hit for the 35-yard touchdown.
Seahawks are a totally different offense with Doug Baldwin. We saw without him last week, their struggles. This week, 2 nice touchdowns. That's why he has one of the better sets of hands in the NFL.
It looked like they were going to win this game in overtime, and the enormous holding penalty took away what was a huge play in the beginning of overtime. They ended up having to punt. This Niners get a second straight great home win.
Pats Steelers. Pats down the punt at the 1 with the ridiculous special teams effort. Jonathan Jones leaps up. Rex Burkhead tips it back. There it is. Nicely done, boys.
Matthew Slater did even a better job to make sure the ball didn't hit him. We've heard about him. He's a great special teams player. New England, they always play good special teams. Pinning the Steelers deep took a tremendous effort.
It's as good as it gets. The Giants actually a couple weeks ago did something very similar, but it didn't have quite the flair nor the pylon cam to give us that angle.
It didn't make butt first.
It didn't.
Sticking with Pats Steelers, we'll pick this one up. 12 minutes left in the second quarter. Big Ben hitting the always reliable Antonio Brown. That is a touchdown. AB finished with 4 catches for 49 yards. On to the fourth quarter. Pats trailing 14-10 and in the red zone. And Tom Brady, and it is picked off by Joe Hayden. Terrible mistake by Brady. He knew it. Pittsburgh would make a field goal to go up 7 points. 20 seconds left in the game, 4th and 15. Brady looking for Julian Edelman. They cannot connect. The Steelers escape with a 17-10 win. Pats fall to the 3 seed. Here is Tom Brady after the game.
We're just obviously not playing well enough to win, and can come in a lot of different, ways, turnovers, and just missed opportunities. I think that's what it comes down to. Too many plays where we got opportunities to do stuff with it, and we don't. So it's football. I mean, wish outcomes were different, obviously this week, last week, but just have to get back to work.
All right, Cece, what was your reaction to the Patriots falling to the Steelers yesterday?
A couple of things. I was totally shocked by the number of penalties that they had, not only the yardage, but the frequency, the number of penalties that they had. That's not like a New England team. But this Pittsburgh team was moving quick. So a lot of the penalties, you never make excuses for penalties, but I understood a lot of them because it had to do with a lot of the offensive line being a half beat, half a step with that great crowd. And I was totally shocked by their offense struggling against this defense. Even, say, the first drive. Their drives went like this. 3 plays, even though they had the big play. After that, no more big plays, but their drives went like this. 3 plays, 5 plays, 5 plays, 3 plays, 6 plays, 4 plays. So in their first 6 drives there, not generating but 7 points. How are you going to win an NFL game like that? So the Pittsburgh Steelers and what they did defensively definitely kept New England off balance, but I was shocked by those 2 items, offensive inconsistency and a number of penalties.
And we talked going into this, the Pats have owned the Steelers. They've won 7 of 8. Since 2013, the Pats were averaging, 35 points per game against Pittsburgh. And while the Pats have struggled on the road this year, it's been their defense most notably that struggled on the road. This is a different Pats team right now in really foreign territory for them. They've got 5 losses already. They haven't had 5 losses in the season since 2009. Not coincidentally, that is the last year they didn't have a bye. Right now, they're not in position to have a bye. They're 9-5 right now. They were 27-5 the last 2 years going into the postseason. They were at a 14-2 year and a 13-3 year. Like, we are, the Patriots, don't worry about them in September because you don't want to play them in December. Well, that hadn't been true this year either. Like, there is not a lot that looks Patriot-esque except for the uniforms. Brady he was trying to throw the ball away and didn't have the arm strength to throw it away. Makes a critical error. You know how this Steeler game ends each of the last 5 years, Jenna? when they're up 14, when there's Steelers up 14-10, the Patriots drive and score a touchdown. And they don't, and the Steelers kick that field goal. Guess what happens? The Patriots tie the game with 10 seconds left, a huge stomach punch, and then they win in overtime. I was watching and I was like, okay, this is going to be an interesting new way to have this for the Steelers to have their hearts ripped out of their chest, but that's not what happened. And credit to the Steelers defense, aside from the one bust on the Chris Hogan wide open 60-plus yard touchdown, the defense played as well as the defense can play against the Pats.
When the Patriots don't play that well but win, we say, oh, it's because of number 12. But when the Patriots are losing far more than we've seen them lose, how much of this season, the woes, the road woes especially, would you place on number 12?
Well, they're not as explosive. I mean, Tom Brady, Brandon Cooks, they miss him on the outside. When you trade Brandon Cooks for the last 3 seasons in a row, 1,000-yard receiver consistently for a Josh Gordon, a troubled Josh Gordon, is that an even swap? No. Nate Solder, their left tackle, we haven't talked about their offensive line, but you can start to see they having problems on the offensive line, being able to protect Brady, having a consistent running game. So there are a number of things. There's a reason why they've had over 33 wide receivers in there, either trying out to be a wide receiver and on this roster since the spring, because they don't have a whole bunch of explosive players. Deion Lewis left in free agency to go with the Titans. So they're missing that total productivity from those 2 players. You can start to see it. This is not something they typically struggle with, especially late in the season. Late in the season, they already have an identity. This is what they're going to do. And if you take Sony Michel away from them, man, they struggle. Gronk can't run, so their ability to threaten the football field deep down the field, they don't have it, and they can't do it consistently. And you can see defenses starting to understand and get closer to Tom. That's why he hadn't been as effective that we've seen him the last couple of years.
It's only the second time in the last 15 years this Patriot team is going to finish below 500 on the road. They're done with road games now. They're 3-5. The only other time was that 09 season when they went 10-6 and got blasted in the playoffs by Ray Rice and the Baltimore Ravens. That playoff game started with a Ray Rice 80-yard touchdown run, and the Patriots really never got closer than that moment. The best thing the Pats have going for them right now is that the Chiefs and Chargers are in the same division. The best thing they have going for them is that the 2 teams with 11 wins that are 11-3, only one of them can get a bye. And all they need is the Texans to stumble, and all of a sudden they can be 11-5 and have that be good enough for the 2 seed because they have the tiebreaker with the Texans. So the sky isn't falling in New England because of some things that they didn't necessarily earn, so some good fortune, but it is this team. I do not think a team that has struggled like this on the road can win consecutive road playoff games against really good teams. That's what they would have to do if they stay the 3 seed. Right now, the Patriots, in addition to having to take care of the Jets and the Bills at home, they need to hope the Texans slip up in the next couple weeks, or else they will be the 3 seed.
But this is 2 back-to-back games, uncharacteristic losses for this Patriots team. Not something we've seen, especially under the Brady-Belichick era. Take a break. Coming up, can Khalil Mack carry the Bears to the Super Bowl? The Super Bowl? That's next on First Things.